everyone, my name is Timothy Lee Grant and welcome back to another leak coding video. Let's get right into it. So which question should we try? Should we just randomize it? Why not? Let's just close our eyes, come here and do this. Okay, which one? Ordered set. All right, cool. So, ooh. Oh, but we already solved it. Never mind. We are not doing an ordered set. Wrong answer. Okay. Okay, let's do that again. Should we try greedy? Yeah, why not? Greedy. Okay. Okay. Oh, come on. We already did this one. We already did this one. We already did this one. Okay. Can place flowers. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's go. Let's make myself a little bit smaller there. Number 605. Can place flowers. You have a long flower bed in which some of the plots are planted and some are not. However, flowers cannot be planted in adjacent plots. Okay? Given an integer array flower bed containing zeros and ones, where 0 means empty, 1 means not empty, and an integer n, return true if in flowers can be planted in flower bed without violating the no adjacency flower rule, and false if it can't. All right. So we're given, let's see, we have this n here. Okay, so I'm gonna try to figure out what's happening. We have n, and this is going to be just a number. Let's say 5. Okay, so n is equal to 5. All right, and now we have this list of integers. Okay, so this is flower bed, and that is going to be kind of like this, and it's filled with zeros and ones. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. Something like this, okay? So now the question is, flowers cannot be planted in adjacent pots. I think that means like I can't plant a flower here. Okay, I think that's what it means. And I can't plant a flower here. So if I have something like, let's see, this right here, I can't plant a flower here, I cannot plant a flower here, I cannot plant a flower here because it's adjacent to here, and I can't plant a flower here. So how many flowers can I plant in this bed? 0. I can't plant any. Whereas if this was a 0, I could put a plant here and a plant here. I could put 2 plants. Okay. So I think that's what's happening. Let me look at the examples, see if the examples match what I'm expecting, and then we will go forward. So, can I plant 1? Yes, I can right there. So I return true. Can I plant 2? I can plant 1 right there, but I can't plant the other 2. So the answer is false. Okay, so yes. Now, how am I actually going to do this? So understanding the question was fairly straightforward. Actually implementing it, I'm not immediately seeing a path forward on that one. Okay, so I have this array, and okay, so I guess I can mark the available places. So like I come here and I'm going to mark this one as not available, and this one is not available. So like maybe I can go like this with an X and an X. Okay. And then I need to see how many I have here. So then I need to loop through and I get... Oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know. So I loop through and I say that because this one is an X, I know that it was a 0. If this one was like a 1, 1, I couldn't do that anyways, but then I would say this one is an X, right? But that doesn't... 0, kind of like this. So this one right here can be an X. So I know if I'm surrounded by an X, but how do I determine which one I want to do? Obviously, just through inspection, I know that I want to fill it here, and I know I want to fill it here. But how do I take that intuition and put it into programming? Man, I feel really stuck on this one. Well, I can... Let me just go back to the original. So I have a 0 here, and I have a 0 here. What if I just take the first... I loop through here and find the first one, and then from the first one, I loop back and do, okay, I'm going to change this to be a 1. And then I'm going to change this to be a 1. Kind of like that. So, for example, if I had a 1 here, I would not do anything. I would try to loop back, but it's the end of the array. Then I would come here, and I would skip over this one right here, and then I would come to here, come to here, come to here, and then I would put a 1 here, and then skip over this one, and then there. Okay, so int, Python, not int, index. Okay, so index equals 0. I'm starting at the beginning. So while index is less than length of bed, equals length of flower bed. Okay. What do I want to do? I want to move my pointer through this until I get a 1. So if flower bed indexed at index is equal to 1, then what do I want to do? I want to like backwards fill it. Is that right? I have no idea. I want to backwards fill it, I guess. So, and the reason is because I want to find a 1 so that I can optimally put the 1 here. Okay. So now I need to go backwards. So now I need a secondary thing. So like second equals index. I found a 1. While second is greater than 0 or equal to 0. I'm going to be going backwards, so but I can't index. I can't index the one before it because I might go outside the bounds of the array. How would I do something like this? And I also noticed that I only need to go to this element here. I don't, if there was a whole bunch of other things here, I've already kind of dealt with that, right? So maybe I can have a last previous. Oh, okay, so last previous equals 0. It's greater than last previous. So it's going to go backwards. If so I want actually index -1, right? Because I want to be able to index the one above it. So if flower bed indexed at second plus 1 is equal to a 1 is equal to a 0, then I want to change flower bed the one. So I'm right here. If I'm looking at the one above it, if that's a 0, I want to change this one to be a 1. But in this case, it's a 1, so I need to go to the next one. So I'm going to come here, and then I'm going to see that this is a 0, and then I'm going to change that this is a 1. This one to a 1. So equals 1. And then, now this one is 1 here. Then I'm going to come here. I'm going to say, is the one above me a 1? Or is it a 0? No, it's not, so I'm not going to change it. I'm going to try to come here, but now this is where my last previous is, right? So now, I'm going to keep doing that. And then, last previous is now going to be updated to be this one here, which was at index. Okay. And then I want to say like total planted. I'm going to have a total planted. Total planted is currently equal to 0. And then once I come here, this represents planting right here. So what I can do is total planted plus equals 1. Okay. So now I return total planted is greater than or equal to in. Was that what it was called? In, yes. In. So this is going to evaluate to a Boolean if total planted is greater than or equal to this in. So it's going to return true if it is, false if not. Whew. Do we want to try it? Do we want to run it? Well, first, what do I want to say what the running time would be if it doesn't even work? Let's evaluate the running time and then press go and see if we see what happens. This is O of n. This is technically O of n as well, right? So it's n squared. Oh, it's taking a long time. Do we get like, oh, we didn't update second. We didn't update second or index. Of course. So here, we need to second minus equals 1. So we're going to go backwards once. And then this one is index. So we're going to come here, index plus equals 1. Okay, so now let's try it. A wrong answer. Darn. Well, what if I just run here? Okay, so it accepts it both there. I'm not taking into consideration the one right there. Okay. So if the one above me is a 0, but I also need to check the one behind me. Last previous. Actually, plus 1, right? And this one is last previous is going to be 1. Because I don't want to go and look at this one. I want to come here and stop right here. I don't want to even look right there. So I'm going to say that last previous. So this means that it is going to stop where? Second is last previous is right here. And I'm saying second is going to be here, then here, then here. And then this is going to be the last iteration. So in this case, can we do that? Right, because this one I put last previous to be here, but in this case we can't do that. I mean, so this is kind of the this is the Leetcode what can be very frustrating about Leetcode is that you understand where you are going wrong. You understand what you are trying to do, but actually taking that and implementing it into code is like, Oh my goodness. And then a lot of times when you're doing Leetcode, it gets to that feeling like I must be a terrible programmer. I must be awful at this, right? Because in your mind, you think it's so simple. But then if it's so simple and I know exactly what I'm trying to do, why can't I put it into code, right? And so Leetcode really is kind of like that. It can get into your mind. It can get into your brain and like kind of like that. Might be also why there's a very large community on the internet who hates Leetcode, and I've gotten some of the I know about them because I've gotten some of their comments. Why are you doing Leetcode? Leetcode is absolutely worthless and blah 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 blah. So, anyways, I think that's why a lot of those people don't like Leetcode is because it can mess with your mind and why should I be studying? I think what it is kind of they don't want to put in a lot of time and effort into actually learning it because they say it's not useful. Which actually, in my opinion, I think Leetcode is very useful because right here, right? Like, how do you take something in your mind and put it into code? That's extremely useful. Like, why would that not be useful? Okay. The other thing is taking in a problem and understanding it. Taking in all of that information, understanding it, and trying to formulate an algorithm. That's extremely important. Then, as I just said, taking that algorithm that you have in your head and actually putting it into code. That's extremely important. Like, but anyways, trying to get where was I? Wrong answer. So I know this right there. I see where I'm going wrong. So I don't want this +1. I'm gonna get rid of that. And I'm gonna set this to 0. And now I'm gonna say in here, if this is the case, the one above it, and okay, I'm gonna have a compound statement and the one before me, and this is going to give an error, but I'm going to fix it. We're going to do an OR. We're going to do an OR operation, but first let's get the normal one. So, and flower bed indexed at second -1. That's why we're going to get an indexing error right here. Okay. -1 equals a 0. So the one, if I'm right here and I'm looking here, if this one is a 0, then I want to add it. But if I am right here, okay, if I'm right here, sorry, when I said I was looking here, and I want to add it, I was not seeing that there was a 1 here. Let's say that the 1 was right here and that didn't exist, whatever. There's a 1 here, 0, and then I add this. But in the case where this is a 0, okay, no, sorry, in this specific case, yeah. So there's a 1 here, there's a 0 here, and a 0 here. I want to add it here. So that is the case where we are at 0. So I'm going to do an OR operation because, and I'm going to put it in front because I don't want this to run if we're at the last index. So if we're at index of 0, if second equals 0, so the index equals 0. So if we're at the very beginning, and so if this is true and this is true, I want to run in and I want to put a 1 right there. Okay? The other case is if this is true, the one above me is 0, and the one below me is 0, then I want to do it. Okay, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Wrong! No! No, 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 no. I guess that kind of brings up the third point of why Leetcode is helpful. Well, I just thought of two more. So the first one I was going to say is troubleshooting. What I'm doing right now, trying to troubleshoot your code, because my goodness, that's what you do all the time, right? Then the second one is, well, what it actually is supposed to be teaching, which is data structures and algorithms. Like, that's extremely important, learning how to set up all of these data structures and use data structures to accomplish algorithms, and learning that kind of mindset about time efficiency. So, extremely important, but I shouldn't say that too loud because that community is very, very vocal. Now, mm. Well, okay. Trying to think of. So I know that I want to put a 1 there, but I don't know why it's not doing that. So I should come here, and then I should come here, right? Oh, equal to. Every time I'm like, oh, I got it. Okay. No wonder it wasn't working. I fixed that one thing. So confident. I'm like, submit. No, darn. Hmm. Am I getting that, like, I'm putting a 1 here where it is a 1? I'm not. If I'm just gonna see if this is kind of what's going on. Like this, and okay. I'm just gonna see. I don't know if that's gonna fix it, but no, it didn't. I was thinking that maybe I was like replanting in the same location, like I had a 1 here and I was replanting it. Okay, apparently that doesn't work. Well, I hmm. All right. Well, here we go. Add this to the list of failed Leetcode problems. So I am admitting defeat. I'm not able to get it. I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. So we're going to admit defeat on this problem. We couldn't do it, but we're going to go to GPT to figure out. Here is my solution to can you give me the actual answer? So, can you tell me what I am doing wrong and give me the actual answer? Okay. I've overcomplicated the task. And doesn't handle correctly all possible scenarios for placing flowers. Let's simplify it by iterating through the flower bed and checking the condition for placing the flowers. Iterate through the flower bed. Check each spot if you see a flower that can be placed. Check conditions. A flower can be placed if the current spot is 0, the previous spot is either 0 or out of the bounds, and the next spot is either 0 or out of the bounds. So place the flower. Okay. So we're just iterating through the loop once, through the flower bed once. So if the current location that I'm at is a 0, check if the previous spots are empty or outside the bounds of the array. So we check if previous empty is... Okay, so we're checking if we're at the last position, okay? Or if the last... So this is kind of how I was trying to protect here. And then I did an or clause with this one right here with the -1. And that's because if this is true, we want to break. We want to just return... Okay, this part is true because the way that the coding works is if this part is true in an or statement, we don't even execute this second clause. But if it's false, then we come here and we know that we're not at the last one, so we can index the one before it. So then we say flower bed of the one before it is equal to 0. So that means previous is empty, or we're at the front of the bed. Okay. Next empty means a similar thing. If we're at this one right here, which is the length -1, okay? If we're at the length -1 or the next one is equal to 0. So if both of those are true, then we can place a flower there, add 1, and then move to the next index. And then we can just, this is more laid out. If our count reaches above n, then we return true. Otherwise, we come here and just return the output of the count. Using my current implementation, can you fix it to make it operate correctly? Put a comment on each of the lines you changed. Okay, let's see where exactly I'm making my error here. Okay, so skip 2 spots to ensure no adjacent flowers. Okay, so then place a flower. So I have that, right? So this is my long comp. I'm at the 0th, or the one above it, or the previous one is equal to 0. Same thing if the one before it is equal to 0. So in that case, what we do is we place the flower, total planted, and then we go 2 ahead. Okay, else we just move forward by 1. Okay, so that's kind of the implementation here. I have a list of um, like failed Leetcode problems, and so I'm keeping a list every time that not every time, I've failed actually a lot more problems than this. I've failed like, I don't know, probably 20, but I try to remember each time that I fail a problem to put it in here. Sometimes I forget, but anyways, I'm trying to keep a list, and I'm going to be doing videos going back to them once I get the time or energy to kind of dedicate more time to that. But anyways, right now my current goal with Leetcode is try to get a very wide array of different problems. So trying to go through all of a lot of these problems, trying to learn as much as I can. Um, Unfortunately, I've been putting a lot of effort at. Not unfortunately, I've been putting a lot of effort at work, but like, unfortunately, I haven't been able to really dig into a lot of the data structures right now as I was previously because just my 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 brain is constantly like tired when I get home. But anyways, so yeah, I'm going through all of these problems, trying to see as many problems as I can and put them into my subconscious. So if that's kind of interesting to you, sorry we failed this one, but you know, we're going to be at it again tomorrow. We'll succeed tomorrow. We're going to get it tomorrow, okay? So, if any of this seems interesting, subscribe. That would be amazing. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I will see you tomorrow with another LeetCoding problem.